Evangelist Cheryl Brown, Nigel Joseph, Maxine Coombs, Alfonso Richards, and the KBC Worshippers, Ronnie Richardson, the band Blessed, and Reverend Fidel Taylor.
Praise on the mountain.
From the USA, Gus Lynch, Shamel Russell, and Gregory Olive. Get ready, St. Vincent, for Awake SVG. Experience it live at the Russell's Auditorium, Stony Grounds, Kingstown, on February the 4th, 2024. Get your limited early bird tickets for just $20. Regular price $25, and at the door you pay $30. Get your tickets at Century Insurance, Nightingale, Pulse, Phyllis at Singer, Be Connected Shop at Camden Park, and from churches throughout SVG. Proceeds in aid of the Rillen Hill Church of the Nazarene Restoration. There's also going to be lots of prizes and giveaways.
Praise the Lord.
Sponsored by Century Insurance, New Life Sound, and West Indian Development.
WEFM, the new fresh sound.
Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All right, we are back. Sorry, what are we getting into? No, what are we talking about next?
So we're gonna try to summarize the news that came out of the budget yesterday. So right now I'm drawing from St. Vincent Times and Eyewitness News. So on St. Vincent Times there was a story, and the caption, the headline, sorry, is "Debt Relief on Unpaid Hospital Bills, New Fee Collection System." So it reads, the government will offer debt relief and implement a new system to collect outstanding monies owed to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, which in 2022 stood at $2.3 million. Minister of Finance Camilo Gonzalez said 80% of people who can and should pay bills at the hospital do not do so. Gonzalez said revenues from fees pay less than 10% of the bills, and there is a generally lackadaisical attitude about fee collection. In 2022, the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital saw 11,604 patients and billed them the total amount of $2.3 million. The hospital then applied $260,000 worth of discounts for age, ability to pay, and certain categories of patients, like ununionized workers, nurses, and the police. Of the $2 million remaining to be collected, the hospital received a scant $253,000. Over 85% of bills owed were uncollected, and the 11,604 patients paid on average $22 for their health care. Gonzalez said the Strengthening Healthcare System Resilience Project will include expert advice about fee revisions, and collections to come into effect when the acute care hospital is open. In the meantime, we will redouble efforts to collect fees from those who can afford to pay their hospital services but chose not to. However, we do not want to waste time pursuing,
I suppose.
I guess it's supposed to be pursuing old and uncollectible debts. As such, the Prime Minister requested a complete review of all the debts owed by patients and their families to the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital and other hospitals across the state up to October 27, 2022. This is a very contradictory statement, in my opinion.
Also,
in the meantime, we will redouble efforts to collect fees from those who can afford to pay their hospital services but choose not to. But in the same breath, they said we do not want to waste time pursuing old and uncollectible debts.
Yeah.
Now, is it that people are generally lackadaisical, or people don't have the income? People being paid below $1,000 per month, having to survive, having to pay other bills, when they go to the hospital, they simply don't have it. I'm curious. But I'm not at the hospital. I don't know the income of these people, but We've always been complaining about the salaries and savings and the grenadines. So is it that people are being lackadaisical or they just don't have the money to pay the bills? Either way, the debt relief is something positive in my opinion.
All right. So when I heard Minister Gonsalves, Camilo in this case, talking about this issue last night, I had a good chuckle, right? Because the topic recently came up among a group of friends of mine, and there is a situation where a bill was presented, and on the bill there is an outstanding debt from since 2018, right? A significant amount since 2018. And then it caused us to enter into a discussion where in many instances, people didn't, well, just talking generally, people don't know that they have a bill to pay. Another problem is that the hospital does not seem to follow up on these payments, right? People, because I was even asking one friend, I said, but did they take contact information from you? Did they take your phone number, email address, maybe a next of kin contact information? And she said, no, they didn't. At the time that she needed to use the healthcare services, they didn't, right? So there are instances where people know that they have a bill, they don't pay. There are some instances where, in other instances, where the hospital does not seem to either have the resources or does not put enough effort into collecting these payments. Now, I know that many persons, because even in my head, I did not even realize that persons were issued bills, right? I will be very honest that I did not know that persons were issued bills. And, you know, there have been at least 2 instances that I remember where we had to utilize the services of the hospital for my niece. And even to this day, I don't ever recall hearing that we have a bill to pay. So there are many instances, I think, that for people like myself who just felt like the services of the hospital are for free, right? And that may actually be ignorance in the context of lack of knowledge on my part because of the fact that I did not know. Right. So there may very well be a bill down there to be paid and probably just need to follow. But the thing of it is that how are you going to recoup your finances? You're going to recoup your bills if effort isn't put into actually doing so. Right. Now, I know that Ari is speaking about persons may not be paid enough, but there are a category of persons who can pay, who choose not to pay as well, right? But the effort does have to fall on the hospital to investigate these situations, whether or not persons can pay. I think if you're over 65 or if you're a minor, I'm not sure what the minor age starts at, where those persons are not supposed to pay as well, right? Now, I also have to talk about the point that many times we complain about the hospital not having this and not having that. The hospital itself needs to have funding, and all of the funding doesn't necessarily have to come directly from government. But this is one of the ways in which we, as society, can help to keep the finances of the hospital going. If we remember to pay our bills, we inquire about our bills, and the hospital on their part make sure that they follow up or follow through with persons who have outstanding bills.
I don't know. Since the beginning of time, I would never under the assumption that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has free healthcare.
But in essence, that's what it's going to seem like. If we're not paying it, or if there's no follow through, it comes as if we have free healthcare.
I don't know. I've never felt that way. So when I hear people saying, "Oh, so I didn't know there was a bill," like really?
Yeah,
Really?
and I'm one of those persons like, yeah, really,
Yeah.
I didn't know.
No,
I
like
did not
I'm
know.
like, really, you didn't know? Like really?
Yeah, no, like really.
That's interesting. So you just thought you walk into the hospital, you get the services, and you go home.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, Ari. We left, and this happened when my niece was probably like 6 years old, and that was it. Like no contact information was taken, so there is no follow through, and we just left.
I don't know. I would have think that's strange, but that's 3 different categories of people now. And again, that is why I said before, I think it was you and I who were on the program, and I said, I feel like the hospital and the Ministry of Health really need to really look into having a communications department. Because how is it that a lot of people don't know a lot of this information? We just hear it in the budget that, okay, we don't have we there's a lot of people owing the hospital. Good morning, caller. Okay, missed that call. Now, yeah, that's the three category of people: people who cannot pay, people who do not know they have to pay, and the people who are delinquent with their payments. So, how is it that this will be tackled going forward? Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning. I just listened to Roleza today. She sounds so innocent that she didn't know.
No, and I'm being so serious about it. I did not know.
Yes. well, what can I mean? You're making that admission and so on. So I have no reason to doubt you. It's just that because what I've been thinking about, we have so much problems with the current hospital, the current state that it is in, and so on. And we are hearing we are going to get what they call it, the referral hospital. Now, anything that we are going to invest in, like a new hospital, is going to cost more money to maintain, right? Come on. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that. You know, and a lot of fuss and so on has been made about this new hospital coming and streaming on its zeal and so on. And I have been contemplating, but if we're having so much problems running the Milton Keynes Memorial Hospital, how are we going to run this new one?
A very, very good question.
A lot of things, yeah, I have been thinking about that ever since. A lot of things have to come into consideration. So the same questions that are being raised and all of that. Can we afford to really maintain, sustain a new hospital in St. Vincent and Grenadines? Your economy and all of that has to be taken into account. Your working population, and all these different things. So, I mean, if we can get something new and it is properly run and all of that, and we can maintain it, fine. People, may well have to come to St. Vincent and Grenadines to seek medical attention, I just thought I'd chip in there with that and so on. All right.
Yeah, that is something to think about. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, that is something to think about because, okay, we see that there are new doctors coming into the hospital and they're improving the service at the hospital in terms of what the doctors offer. But we also see that the nurses continue to leave, and we also see that just recently, was it a nursing assistant was complaining about not receiving the increments? So, and then there are the general problems that persons have with the hospital over the years. So then, as Dave rightfully said, how can we then look to pump money into a new hospital when the current main hospital in St. Vincent and Grenadines still need a lot of work? And then we ourselves end up footing the bill in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I am in agreement with you, Ari, with regards to the communications department. Or a lot more needs to be said. It wasn't until the other day, this was since last year though, when I was listening to late last year, the Issue at Hand program, and they had on Idinga Miller Walker. Idinga, I forget your actual position, the title, your title. But anyhow, they were talking about the services that are offered at the polyclinic, etc. And Ari, I did not know that the polyclinics actually had these different types of services. Additionally, I did not know how I don't want to use the word cheap, but how affordable, right? Affordable the prices actually were. And these are the things that because many times we will be quick to go to Kingston, go to a private doctor. And of course, there's nothing wrong with running to go to a private doctor. But in many times, persons do not even need to leave their villages or their constituencies to seek medical attention. And in many cases, we really just don't know, again, ignorance in terms of lack of knowledge. We don't know what many of these services are at the polyclinic. So people just continue, So I think that there actually needs to be a bit more sensitization on the part of the ministry in terms of getting the messages out there, getting the word out there, in terms of what the polyclinics offer, the prices that the services, the various services that are available, what they are. And you have to find a way to round up people to pay their bills, and don't let it pass. so have the conversation. I'm going to say first to have the conversation to see if they're able to pay. And if they're not, or if they find it's going to be a pinch, then you work out a payment plan or whatever the case might be, right? But if you're going to leave it for years to pass, as I said, we were having a conversation. A bill was brought forward from since 2018, right? Then persons are going to be under the impression that I don't necessarily have to pay this bill in a hurry because there's nobody there hounding me for it.
Yeah. Well, we had a stick up in there. It's now 8 o'clock here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And your time check was brought to you by New Haven Funeral Home.
Death is a fact of life. Even though death is a fact of life, that doesn't make it any easier. When dealing with the loss of a loved one, you may try to be strong, but it's really hard sometimes. But that's just when the experience of the staff at New Haven Funeral Home can demonstrate their compassion and help to guide your family through the difficult time. So in your time of loss, call the New Haven Funeral Home at 457-1830 or 458-1467 or email newhavenfuneralhome@gmail.com. New Haven Funeral Home, SVG's preferred funeral home.
Boy, so where you getting crashing on? Your brakes real good, boy.
Now brakes alone good enough. My tires good too.
Tires? Where you get them tires, boy?
Out by Caribbean Tire Plus, man. They out in Addersville. Can't miss it. Look for the orange container on them. Plenty parking space and open 7 days a week all thing, man. Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And on Sundays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Call them today. Caribbean Tire Plus, 784-432-4786 or email ctiresplus@gmail.com.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Ready, set, serve. Singer, your favorite family store is now online. Log on today at www.singersvg.com and enjoy our store and products right at your fingertips. Now online are your trusted brands that you have come to love. Refrigerators to chest freezers, gas cookers to toasters, air fryers, mattresses, living room sets, and so much more. Browse our products, check the specs, compare brands and prices, and request parts all online. We have also made bill payments easier, more convenient, and simpler just for you. Log on to www.singersvg.com to learn more. Singer, your family company is keeping up with you and the times. Visit our website today and experience a whole new world of Singer, your trusted online family company.
WEFM, the Refresh Sound.
Activated Mornings on WeFM 99.9 is on now.
All right, and the young people are back. Yes, I'm still young, Ari. I'm not looking at your face at this time. I'm saying we are back. Young people are back. Anyhow, I just want to say shout out to Miss Joseph. Miss Joseph, who taught me at St. Mary's decades ago. Just want to say good morning to Miss Joseph. She told me on last week that she actually listens to the program every day. So I'm just saying a special shout out to her. All right. And Ari, you want to so many comments or after?
That's what I was about to do.
All righty, sir. So
right.
I was going to tell you. What was I going to tell you? I forget.
All right. Welcome back to Vincent and the Grenadines. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about the budget. We're going over the summary. And we're just gonna get into a few comments here before we resume the discussion. Okay, Ari, I'm in agreement with you. Stats are there, stuff like this happen, but people don't have the guts to speak on it because of the consequences that might fall on them. Roleza, keep that theme. Take a break for commercial purposes.
I will.
Good morning, guys. Ari, do you think everyone goes to the hospital really can't pay their hospital bills? I never said that, but no, I do not think that. I'm just saying it is a high possibility because a lot of people are having financial issues here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Good morning, Ari Roleza. Well said about the payment system, Roleza. It seems like Ari is always agreeing with Dave. Why? I'm pretty sure this has all been going on ever since time. I am not always in agreement with Dave. That's an interesting comment. And not because something has always been going on over since time means that is correct. That is why we improve. But I digress. On a live, someone says, whoa, I love take a break for commercial purposes. I can't stand when I hear let's pay some bills.
What's wrong with let's pay some bills?
I don't know. It shows the age of the listeners, I guess. Roleza, I applaud your honesty. Sadly, many Vincentians have no clue. Ignorance, no excuse. All information needed is easily available. I don't know how I feel about easily available.
You see, let me say something with this, right? You have to be curious enough to ask the question, right? And sometimes we're not curious enough, and this is why we don't ask questions. Because as I said, I took it for granted. Honestly, at Vincentians, I took it for granted.
But really
right?
and truly, ain't nobody going to be asking for a bill and present it. If I go to a restaurant and I sit down and I dine and no one tells me about a bill, I'm leaving.
No, but let me tell you why it is, I think, Ari, why it is because I don't remember anybody taking contact details. They took the information with regards to my niece, the child, but I can't remember anybody taking, say this is for your contact details. Upon being discharged or upon leaving, you're supposed to go wherever to the billing office to get a copy of the bill, etc. Nobody said any of those words, right? Yes, I can understand in the case of an emergency, you're going to go down there, they're going to treat you as quickly as possible. But at some point in time, something still has to be said. So we took it for granted. And mind you, there were several visits after that because it was a situation, as I said, with my niece. So there were follow-up visits. At no point in time did anybody say anything. So, of course, I went, we got the services, we left. It's been years.
I could see how that could happen, but I would have been, me personally, I would have been concerned because I know that it's not free. But if it is that I am somebody and I do not have the money, and you don't tell me about a bill, I'm not going to ask.
The other thing on top of that, Ari, unless somebody isn't hounding you down to make a payment, you're not going to pay. It's not like a utility service where if you don't pay, you can be disconnected, right? You know that there are persons who only pay, who may only rush to make a payment because they're going to be disconnected. But if you're not going to necessarily be disconnected or you're not necessarily going to be hounded, there are those category of persons who would not feel the need to make a payment. Your conscience has to be your guide, yes, right? But
it doesn't have to be your guide because I could speak on two hospitals, that is Kings County in New York and any hospital in Taiwan. Kings County, people receive their bills and throw it in the trash. Like, I don't have to pay that. People generally don't pay. Well, Kings County specifically, people don't generally pay the Kings County bill in New York. But in Taiwan, because of the medical system that Taiwan has, and you have a healthcare, your healthcare insurance card, all of your information is always on your card. So as soon as you go to the hospital for whatever reason, you swipe in when you enter the hospital, and when you're leaving, you go straight to the cashiers and you pay your bill. If you don't pay your bill, trust and believe it will add up, and trust and believe you will not get service at the hospital until that bill is cleared.
Well, trust and believe it doesn't happen here, which is why it's taken for granted.
Now, I said that to say it should happen.
I'm not doubting you. I'm not doubting you. And I am in a total agreement that it should be paid, or the conversation needs to be had in terms of how the payments can be made if all can be done at the same time. I'm in agreement with you.
They definitely should. That's why the communications department is so important. They definitely should put in answers. Yeah, sometimes people give different addresses. That's not necessarily theirs. People don't pay their bills in New York like that. But here, I really do feel like the communications department should step in and inform people, hey, there are payments to be made. This is how you should make your payment when you come to the hospital. I don't hear that at all.
Well, they probably just need to have a billing, a properly human resource billings department. That's probably what it needs to be.
Maybe they do have it, we don't know.
Well,
but the information is not out there. And I'm guessing with the workload, the nurses and the doctors, it's not at the forefront of their mind
and
to
that
remind
shouldn't fall
everyone.
on the nurses and the doctors either. That's an administrative duty.
So the administration now, it is their duty to put it on out there. There are a number of there's health ward here at WFM. They could be included in the health ward. They could put the money into doing ads, or they could just utilize social media. But people need to know what exactly is happening, or you're going to keep having delinquent payments as it regard to your healthcare. Now, I think when you take x-rays and that sort of stuff, you usually pay up front. I'm not sure. I haven't taken
the bill that I saw. The bill that I saw, everything was on the bill itself. So there was no paying up front either. So, yeah.
So, okay, you said this was from a conversation with your friends.
Yeah, and I actually saw the bill. I actually saw the bill. So,
all right. So, moving on, the story from Eyewitness News: Vincentians will in May begin payments or about 25% more for the drivers and motor vehicles license and similar increased charges for related services, while conductor license will move from $15 to $100. At the same time, fees for the inspection of electrical wiring in domestic and commercial buildings will be doubled or more than tripled, depending on the type of building and the number of points, while fees have been introduced for wiremen. Further, travelers to and from wiremen.
What? Oh.
Wiremen,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Further, travelers to and from the country will pay 37.5% more at in-airport service charge, which will move from US $40 to US $55, according to fiscal measures that Minister of Finance Camila Gonzalez announced while presenting the EC $1.6 billion budget yesterday.
Yes, just that billion hard, though, boy.
No,
You
because
drop it real hard.
we are now a $1.6 billion budget today.
If you didn't hear it before, you heard it loud and clear.
The fiscal measures are expected to generate EC 6.7 million more in revenue for the government this year. These measures are designed to adjust user fees and licenses to keep pace with the cost of providing the various associated services and introduce new user fees where new services have emerged. You know, I'd really like
What would you really like, Harry?
for the licensing and registration fees to match the roads that we're driving on. So I have to keep paying these fees, and the payments will keep going up and up over the years, but the roads are not improving.
So that is why you keep
speak
paying
for
more and more
Leeward side.
fees so that they could keep doing some of the roads, and when it comes your turn, it comes your turn.
Man, I'm upset. But anyways, so there's a document. It looks like a PDF here, 2 pages, that seems to summarize the budget for 2024. So 1.6 billion estimated revenue and expenditure, and 11.8% hike over the approved 2023 budget. Negative 25 million projected current account deficit as recovery and investment continue. 92 new posts included in the budget to aid service delivery and implementation. 571 million budgeted capital expenditure, surpassing the approved 2023 allocation by 99 million. Budgeted to the National Road Rehabilitation Project, part of a major National Road Repair Trust. Okay. 43 million. 24 million to build 234 new homes and rehabilitate 520 more. for vulnerable Vincentian. Who's a vulnerable Vincentian?
We had this discussion last week, Ari, when we talked about the houses, and I was asking, how do you qualify for one of the houses? So those should be the category of persons, but I still need to find out more information.
Okay, someone said throwing away your King's County bill doesn't mean you it go away. Trust me, the state going to get their money. Listen, one thing I learned in America is Uncle Sam will get their money. It might be 10 years down the road, 15 years on the 20 years on the road, they will get their money. $50 million budgeted to improve cricketing facilities in advance of cricket T20 World Cup tournament. 101 million budgeted for development of the modern cargo port at Rose Place. 27 million budgeted for production support to the agriculture and fisheries sector. 11 million budgeted expenditure for coastal defense work at Sandy Bay. $100,000 absolute minimum monthly wage for full-time workers. Other positions have higher minimums. 43 million budgeted expenditure for hotel development at Diamond and Mount Wynn. 7 million to begin construction. And we have a caller. I'll take the call here and then I'll continue. Hello,
Hi.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well.
Morning, Roleza. How are you?
I'm good. What about
Ari,
you?
I have a problem with you.
You have a problem with me? That's crazy.
Or something
Yeah,
he
yeah,
said. Let's not. Or something he said.
Well, so no. Ari always reads from Kenton Chance from Eyewitness News. I have an issue with that.
God have
Because
mercy.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
he's not that credible.
What do you
But
mean Kenton
another
isn't a
thing-
credible journalist?
No. We ain't going to argue. I'm just saying. I'm not going to. But another thing. When Vincentian leave St. Vincent to come and have a baby in America, it's the same thing they does. Do not pay the bill. So I think Vincent have a problem with paying the medical bills. It's not St. Vincent alone that does it. They do it to pay too. You know that too, Harry.
Yeah, that's what I was
If you used to
saying.
live, right, because they come, they have babies here, they go back home, whether their friends or their family tell them, oh, you ain't have to pay the bill, use a different name, and then they have issues when they go get a visa again. You know that, right?
Yeah. And we just said
Right.
that a while
So
before you
it's
called.
so when Dave talking foolishness sometimes too, but where they will get the money, Vincent just don't like paying the bill. As simple go in a restaurant, here where you say, Harry, if they ain't give me the bill, I walking out. No, you know you should be honest and say, waitress, if you're in America, you say, can I have the bill, please? If they ain't come to you, you know that too, Harry.
Yeah.
Because they be serving so many people sometime, you know, they ain't get to you yet, and you put up your hand and say, can I have the bill, please? I'm ready to leave. What's wrong with that?
Which was, I think,
You
this
don't even tip. Ari, do you tip when you go to beach combers?
tipping.
Beachcomber
Well,
bill is
if you know,
$300.
No, I just asked you a question.
I tip sometimes. If my bill is in excess
All right,
of
then.
$200,
We
$300,
just
I'm not
don't
tipping.
like. We just
no.
don't like
Okay,
paying.
Carla, hold on. You see what that point for the tipping? Tipping is not is something that's generally practiced or we grew up practicing in Vinci. I will admit this.
Nobody fees
know
usually
that,
included
but
in your
all
bill
that is
lately.
all that is part of growing the economy to release and development.
No,
So we
I'm
have
not
to
saying
start
no,
to
but
get into
I'm
these
not
things.
saying no, but
Huh?
it's also part of our
I
culture
know,
where we haven't
I know,
been right.
but that problem comes because of the business owners in St. Vincent used to tell the people and them do not tip us. And now we have to get away from that.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? We have to get away from them kind of mentality and start, you know what I mean? That's part of the development of the country.
Well, part
These
of
are
it
things we got
also
to get used.
right, and part of it also would have to do with traveling, because if you've grown up here and you've only experienced me paying this bill as presented, the $5 and leave, as opposed to me paying the $5 and paying a $5 extra for the waitress's good service, because I don't think tipping needs to just be applied just like that. I think tipping should be applied in a case where you've actually received good service.
No, well, if the waitress is rude, they probably wouldn't want to give her a tip. I could
Right.
understand that.
Right.
But then in America,
I glad you made a point, because that's what I
of
was gonna say.
what you was going to say, Harry?
We generally have poor customer service here. I ain't encouraged to tip. When I have absolutely good customer service and I want to leave something extra for you.
And I mean, mixed opinions
That's
with that, but
because-
anyway.
That's because they do not get proper training
Yes.
from the bosses.
And
the
I have
bosses
to-
have to realize you just cannot take any random person off the street and make them a waitress. You have to realize, you have to make sure these persons properly trained and know how to speak to the customers.
Yeah, but sometimes, okay, I know we're going off on a tangent. We're not actually talking about the budget, but as you raise it, I'm going to say it one time. Is it always a case of proper customer service training, or do you as an individual know how it is you would like to be treated if you are being served in a restaurant? Because to me, sometimes
there's a lack of training.
But for me, Ari, what I know, okay. Well, I don't know. I think part of it is also on the person as well.
You have to understand, releases sometimes, okay, right? Like some people now, okay, you go look for a job. Some of these people that we're not looking down on them. Some of these people does not have a good educational background, right? So right there and then you pick up this person off the street. They probably can't read and write too properly. They don't know how to really talk to people and stuff like that. But you give them a job. But then if you're gonna give a person like that a job, you gotta tell them exactly what you want and train them. You know, good customer service and all those stuff. Because those are the people who work hard for you now. But then where the discipline is concerned and how to talk to people, they do not really have that. Because their educational background did not expose them into certain things. They come off the street, they just know about, you know, the rah, 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 rah. And me know that, and you know, that's
and
not.
And if you don't want it, leave it.
That's always I don't understand how some of these workers vex with you because they have a job. You can't vex with me because of your job.
But I guess that we would have to probably take that up on another occasion, customer service and Vinci.
And I was just saying, with the budget, with Kenton Chance, we gotta be careful. If you want the reckable information, go to the government's website, get it, and then you read it, and then
I'm not. The budget that I'm reading is not from Kenton Chance.
Oh,
the summation that he's given
is from the government, the 100-page document. In the beginning, I read St. Vincent Times and Eyewitness News reports, and then I went into the document from the budget. Yes, the 100-page document.
Okay, then. All right, then. Okay, then.
All right. Thanks for your contribution, Leon. All right.
So I want to respond to three things quickly before we go back into the budget. Okay, we have another call. Let's take the call. Good morning, caller.
I just want to say thanks to the caller. I agree with you 100%. It appears to me that everybody in this country, well, not everybody, but a lot of people in this country think that the government is supposed to mind everybody and give them everything for free. One wind in your house damage, government must fix it. This happened to your child, government must pay for it. And I just want to say also to the young people listening, be careful who you listen to and what you listen to. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you. I just want to wish Mr. and Mrs. Julian happy 8th anniversary, coming to you from Joshua. Good morning. The bill at the hospital is when you go to the hospital, spend days, you get a bill for the time spent for bed and medication, use other services, you pay upfront, x-ray, blood tests, so on. Yeah, I know you pay x-ray and blood tests.
Listen, I telling you what I saw with my own eyes. It was billed. It is on the bill itself. So yeah, that's what I saw with my own eyes.
Okay. So. Most people come to America and use the medical system and go to Kings County. After being treated, you get a bill, which is thousands of dollars. You can apply for Medicaid and cut the cost to zero. Okay. So, yes, the first thing, right? The caller said that I only read from Eyewitness News. That is not true. I read from ANN this morning, St. Vincent Times, and Eyewitness News just this morning. And if you know me, you know I have a bias to Searchlight.
and to be fair, though, we generally pull news excerpts from the different different websites to have our discussions, right? So it's not generally from just one source; it's generally from different sites. So yeah.
When I said if I go to a restaurant and there's no bill, I'll leave. It wasn't literal. It was generally speaking. I was saying, like, if me as a person go to the restaurant and no bill is provided to me, I'm going to assume it's free. I'm not saying that's literally what should happen.
You're not saying that you would walk out. You would still inquire.
Yes.
Although there are some people who would walk out if you give them a chance.
Because if you remember, Roleza, that's the first thing I said. I'm pretty sure we don't have healthcare, so I would have found it strange and inquired. And in terms of tipping, as you rightfully said, we don't have a tipping culture here. But when it comes to good customer service, that is when I would tip. And in that breath, I have to shout out the hospitality department at the technical college. They're doing a very, very good job out there. I was fortunate enough to judge a presentation to some students.
Food was involved?
Food. No, it wasn't food.
Oh, okay.
A few weeks ago. And then I went to a restaurant last week. I met one of the students, and the service that was given was very remarkable. So shout out to Miss Lewis and her lectures, and Miss Games. Shout out to Miss Games as well. Back to the budget now. I have like 5 minutes here. Back to the budget. 7 million to begin construction of cultural and artistic hubs in Bellevue, Trumoka, and P.T. Waddell. I know we want to decentralize a lot of things, but Bellevue, Trumoka, P.T.
Yeah,
Waddell.
when I don't know, boy, I heard that since last year. When I heard that, I was like, but okay. Anyway, continue.
Okay, somebody said in response to the caller, if the government can provide employment, then of course people would look to the government for everything. That's a good point. That's a good point. Okay.
I still don't, but anyway.
19, I can't do that. I can't do that. I mean, we actually, not for everything, but we should, if we're paying taxes, we should expect certain things, but not for everything.
You remember when we spoke on the last day from 2023, when we were here, when I spoke about dependency? That's exactly what I was talking about. I
think it depends. Anyhow. But 19 million for school construction repairs to schools, expansion of TVET training.
TVET.
Sorry.
TVET.
So it's not abbreviation?
Yeah, but people just said TVET.
Yeah, TVET training.
Well, you had to go with it though.
I said it.
Go ahead.
To improve airport facilities and infrastructure in Beckley, Kanawan and Union Island. You know, when you have a child, you know that child used to get licks.
I know. You don't have to tell me. I know. I can see it all over your face.
35 million to begin construction of the 248 million acute care hospital at Arnesville. $15 million budgeted to enhance the Sir Vincent Beach Athletics Stadium at Diamond. How long has this stadium been up?
Maybe officially open, was it 2021? It was recent. But I know that it's being done in phases.
So maybe it's been in the budget for 2 years now. Maybe I'm asking.
Wait, no. My look and my little underbreath chuckle is, listen to the budget last night. I was wondering how many of these things were repeated from previous budgets, right?
So then where's the money going? But anyways, 5.5.
Or maybe it wasn't used.
Or maybe it wasn't
used.
5.5% GDP growth predicted in 2024 by Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean. And that has been the budget summary. I don't know if I have faith in it. Me as a Vincent, you could take that literally. Me as a Vincent, I don't know if I have faith in what I'm seeing.
I think for me, what I always question is when they speak of, or when it's being spoken of economic growth, I generally always want to see where or in what sector what sector or industry is it coming from? Right? Is it going to be coming from tourism? Is it coming from agriculture? Like where exactly? I know it's always being said, right? And I know that persons who have strong ties, let's say to the government, to the ULP, they may be quick to tell me exactly where it's coming from, but as a Vincentian on the ground, I can't say that I'm always feeling it.
I'm seeing it.
Right? Feeling or seeing it. So we hear of the economic growth, this or that is projecting that it's going to happen. And I don't know.
No, I can't say all of this and not say the truth, which is I do welcome the
development. You've been lying to us all the time?
No.
Okay.
But I have to say I do welcome the development is something positive. But it's positive when it's implemented properly and when the money is spent properly. But in the same breath, I know this isn't an easy job. Creating a budget for the year across all sectors, it cannot be an easy job.
And even in the development, Ari, is the development that is taking place now going to, let's say, be visible at the end of the year? No, it's going to take possibly a couple of years to see the development. Whatever capital projects are on the ground now, whatever is happening in terms of infrastructure-wise, development-wise, it's not going to materialize or take off exponentially by the end of the year. It's going to take a few years to build up, and then we can claim to see that we're seeing the benefits, right?
Yeah. But Roleza,
yes,
the
Ari,
government has been in power for that's been in power for a while. So when I hear, well, we need time to see certain things, not saying that the government hasn't done positive things. The government has done amazing things in education.
No, Ari, no,
off the top of my head.
Yes, I will give them that. You see, you have to look at them implementing certain policies. So those that I consider have benefited from is the education revolution, because as I said, I got a student loan under the economically disadvantaged student loan.
Okay.
Right? Had it not been for that category, it may have taken me a lot longer to go and study. So for that, I'm appreciative, right? Not necessarily forever indebted, but for that, I'm appreciative, right? Also for the 100% financing, mortgage financing, having the policy in place for, well, I fell under the category somewhat of a civil servant, right? So for that, I am happy. So those are two things that I can speak about, right? For Prime, I actually also benefited from Prime. Although I've been very vocal when we started here about how Prime is run, and my what's the word I'm looking for, Ari? Help me here now. Read my mind. Come on. You're here with me long enough to read my mind.
Men still lose it.
I don't want to say unhappiness, but I think that the Prime program needs to be run a little bit. Not a little bit. It needs to be run better, right? So I have actually benefited from under those three programs. So that is what I can speak of for me personally.
You know
what?
I can't say that I directly benefited from any of those, because I fell into the allotted spaces to get into grammar school. Well, I did receive the money from CXC and college. What was it, $500? I think.
I don't know. I didn't have the opportunity to get that, Ari. Okay.
The Taiwan scholarship was offered during the ULP administration, but I personally feel like it would have been offered under any administration. No, for real, because it doesn't matter who is in government. Once Taiwan has relations with a country, they offer the scholarship. What I do think the government probably does is they would argue for the amount of people getting scholarship, because I know for as long as Ambassador Bowman has been in Taiwan, there has been an increase in the amount of students that get the opportunity to go to Taiwan. So I can say that.
Right. And not just the scholarships. So remember, they also do this bursary where they've been doing the bursary for years.
As well.
For years.
So like the bursaries, I could say, happen under the government. And there are different things with Taiwan that happen under the government. But the scholarships, I don't think is one of them. But that's my opinion based on what I
remember when you said that. But I always remember that. Like, what it is.
But yeah, so I haven't really, I can't say that, okay, because of stuff implemented. And I know indirectly there's a lot of stuff that we would have benefited for, but like in terms of, that's why I have to fight to think, what has happened over the past? And I know things have happened. I'm not saying they haven't happened, but I have to struggle to think what has happened.
And this is why sometimes I tell people that a government is supposed to put policies in place to make your life better, right? So you are going to find that in cases where persons have benefited in different ways, why it is that they feel happy with the government that's in power, or whatever the case might be, right? Or grateful, or they're thankful for whatever they may have received on it. So for them, it's going to be a little bit easier for them to quote or to actually draw reference to how it is that they have benefited. But the point of a government being in place is that they're supposed to put policies in place to make your life better.
Easier,
right?
At least. Just a little. Let me just read these two comments. Folks, I can recall many years ago when I used a private room at the hospital, I had to go back to the steward's office to find out the amount of my bill. Also, I am aware of other persons who use the hospital services and never received a bill. If this still happens, maybe there needs to be an introduction of an efficient billing system which requires payment to be made on leaving the hospital, like what I just suggested happened in Taiwan.
Agreed.
Now, someone says, listen to the budget and you will know where the growth is coming from. Also, the PM is on every Wednesday. Listen to him. You see, my problem with, and I say this without watering my mouth, listening to the PM is, you remember the last week or was it week before when they had the plane, the prisoner exchange, the prisoner exchange, not the disappearance, the prisoner exchange, and then the disappearance. And the PM said a lot of nothing.
Let's put it in quotes, disappearance in quotes.
And the PM said a lot of nothing to us. So yes, he is the person that should provide certain information. In certain cases, I don't think he should be the
spokesperson for all ministries.
Spokesperson for all ministries. I do think that he is the person that would have certain information, but I don't think that every single time we have to follow the Prime Minister blindly. So yes, they can present it to us. They can say, hey, this is where the money is going, but then that is why we need lawyers and we need people in communications to find out, is this really where the money is going?
No, I don't even think you need to be a lawyer. You just have to have a thinking mind, because I think what my biggest problem is generally what I tend to find with diehard supporters, and we're not even, this is not a political conversation, it's just a point I'm making, right? Is that diehard supporters seem to not want to think or question things, which to me is what is the problem. But, so I did not become a product of the education revolution to swallow everything wholesale. It's never going to happen. It doesn't happen with my mother. It never happened with my teachers. It's most definitely not going to happen with any government official, right? So, you have to be able to think and you have to be able to question certain things. And you have to be able to give a response to those questions in a way that people can actually understand in a succinct manner, so that you don't end up losing persons. When you start speaking, then, they actually forget what the question is that they initially asked as well.
Yeah.
So it's all of these things, but it's things.
As much as I agree with you, like, we do have to have a thinking mind. We do have to ask questions. I do believe that when it comes to finance, you need a lot more than a thinking mind. Because I can't speak from a place of authority. That's why I have to ask. Please tell us where this money is going. Please tell us if the funds are being misappropriated. Please tell us. Because
Will they actually tell us if it's who is going to tell us?
And that is why we need the lawyers, and that is why we need the journalists. Because they're not going to tell us, hey, we're doing something wrong. Come see.
Yeah, but this is also if you're going to have full disclosure of information as well,
and that is why investigative journalism comes in, and that is why lawyers who hold a magnifying glass to a lot of these things are necessary. But we need to take a break and
for commercial purposes. Okay, Anne. All right, I said it.
And we'll be right back for Activated Morning. But at 9 this morning, we'll be carrying the budget, which continues on.
Oh, you're serious?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know. All right. Okay, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
Sing